Well, it is an issue that has been at the heart of political debate in recent elections here in Germany, across Europe, the U.S., and elsewhere. I'm talking about migration. The word itself has become politically loaded, with many leaders framing the issue as a threat or crisis that requires strong action. Just take the recent demonstrations in Los Angeles and other U.S. cities sparked by immigration raids that are part of U.S. President Donald Trump's tough stance against migrants in the United States. And here in Germany, Chancellor Friedrich Merz has pushed through new migration policies, including the tightening of border controls and the turning back of migrants and asylum seekers. And for more now, I want to bring in Amy Pope. She's Director General of the International Organization for Migration. It's good to have you with us. So let's talk about a lot of migrants are facing ever more and more resistance from countries they might choose to move to. What do you think is the driving force here for people to want to leave their homes behind?
Well, it's really a confluence of different factors. We're seeing more conflicts around the world than ever before. Even at this moment in time, the situation in Iran could trigger more displacement. We're also seeing the growing impact of natural disasters, of a changing climate on communities that just don't have the capacity to respond. So people are displaced by storms, by droughts, by lack of opportunity. And frankly, there are job opportunities around the world where we do not have sufficient workers to take them. In
many countries, I know we see populist political parties gaining momentum. How do you see these parties taking advantage of what is happening right now?
Well, first and foremost, it's always easy to blame migrants for everything that's going wrong. They don't have a vote. They are often an overlooked political constituency or not present at all in the political debate. And so it's very easy to paint them as the source of all the problems. But at the same time, what we're seeing is that migration is going to be essential for the development of many countries and for their continued economic prosperity. So finding a way to create safe and legal ways for people to move, to respond to those pressures, will be crucial for governments.
What do you find most concerning about this?
I find most concerning that we have a tension between what is needed on the ground and what the political rhetoric looks like. And so we even see in the United States where there have been pressures on migration. We are seeing reports from construction industry, agriculture, manufacturing. They just don't have the workers they need. So building a legal system so that people come through a regular channel, come with appropriate identity documents, that's going to be essential for the future.
Yeah, it's amazing that these infrastructures haven't been built. I mean, we have systems now, entire industries that rely on undocumented migrants.
There is a system that is completely built outside of legal channels, and industries all over the world are relying on them. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable when we see the demographic changes around the world, and it's not sustainable when we hear from private sector, particularly in places in Europe and North America, that they need a sustainable workforce to do what they do best.
I know your organization helps facilitate pathways for what is called regular migration. I mean, what's the biggest challenge that you face?
Number one is there are just not sufficient pathways. And in a contest between smugglers and governments, the smugglers are winning because there's a demand for labor and there are pressures for people to move. And without a safe and legal and regular way for people to move, whether it's in their own region, whether it's to jobs in Europe or in the Gulf or in the Americas, they just don't exist at the scale that is needed.
It's astounding, isn't it, to think that countries with healthy economies, they need new workers. Why don't we have regulated systems to allow foreigners to come in and become documented migrants and workers?
The system has really lagged behind these economic pressures. And, we encourage governments, don't just look at the labor market, look at your housing market, look at social services, look at your education systems. What we do see as a downside is that sometimes governments only respond to the labor market need, but they don't do the planning that is necessary to ensure that the workers who are coming can integrate into their communities.
I'm going to ask you before we run out of time, what do you think can be done to help societies better foster a discourse on migration, a discourse that is humane and dignified?
Well, first of all, let's not just look at migration from south to north. Let's look at migration across regions. Migration will be essential to fueling economic growth, for example, in East Africa or in Southern Africa. So let's work with governments, with private sector to create systems for people to move safely and legally and really drive the development that everyone is looking for.
Yeah, that would be the best case scenario. Let's see if our political leaders follow suit. Amy Pope.
We're here to help.
Yes, you are. And we appreciate you coming in too. Amy Pope, Director General of the International Organization for Migration. Ms. Pope, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much.